Welcome to the third video, Learning the Science of Medical Intuition. What do you need to know to develop it within yourself? If you didn't watch the previous videos, the first was on the science of medical intuition, and then the second, we examined why people don't heal. So now in this one, it's the keys to learning intuition and medical intuition in particular. 30 years ago, there is no reference for this at all. There is no reference for anything that I'm making available today. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a library. I didn't have any place. I had to find this out on my own. And maybe that's why I ended up having to live in the mountains by myself for years in isolation, doing reading after reading after reading. But I've amassed an archive of 32 years of the science of what is in the soul, and how the soul then in turn moves through like divine organics in your blood and in your bones. How that works through your intuition, why your intuition's wired the way it is, why it is. This is my favorite topic, so I have 30 suggestions and I'm going to limit it to 5. The first is you need to learn the human energy system. It's critical. Let's say the first foundation is you need to know how you're designed. You need to know the functioning of the chakra system. You need to know what's in your energy system, but you need to know it well. I mean, it's not information, it's knowledge. Knowledge is a very different type of carrier, and you need to not just know what it is, you have to understand the significance and the power of it. And every one of your chakra systems, every one of your chakras, you have to think of it as a database. What's the data in there? And what's its power? What's its significance? It takes a while to learn that and to actually observe it, to develop, and here's the operative word, a reverence for this knowledge. And then the second is that you have to have a real functioning understanding of what it means to lose power, to have power, to hemorrhage power, to have a sense of that the law of cause and effect is in fact a biological principle. So you need to know that. You need to have a real understanding of the survival issues of life and where they play out in your body. That in fact having a stress is a word I wish we'd never created, because it's one of those carry words that people clump together and say, oh, it's too much stress. But we use that word, and as a result, words that we should use to describe the microcosm of what we are actually experiencing or what the issue really is don't get described. The challenges that we face in economics, what that does in our system, what financial, what sexual issues do, where it plays out in your body. You need to know that there is a specific place and a specific way that all of these life survival issues play out in our body, when, how, and what they feel like. You need to know what happens when you do not act on issues, when you don't act in how the body gives you signals that you're in trouble, that in fact something is developing. You need to know that. I think one of the reasons why I've been a good teacher is that I think of myself as the person who comes in through the back door, while everybody else will say, well, you could always use this energy technique or this or this. I'm the one who would always sit back and say, now I wonder why that doesn't work. I'm the skeptic. I'm the realist. And one of the critical learnings is that you have to understand why things don't work and not assume that all the energy techniques are effective. Why aren't they? If it's an energy technique, it means that your system has to have energy in order for it to be effective. So you have to learn what happens if a human being is not energized enough to benefit from energy practices. When do they need chemical medicine? When do they need that both allopathic and chemical? When do both need to be involved in someone's healing? In other words, there's a whole school of wisdom that you as a practitioner or you as a medical intuitive need to understand. And also, what is accuracy as a medical intuitive? What makes you an accurate medical intuitive? What doesn't? Do you have to be in the same room with somebody, or can you diagnose at a distance? Can you evaluate at a distance? Now, here is where I'm really a tough person. If you are a practitioner, you're dealing with somebody's life. No, people would come to a medical intuitive because they don't want to go to a doctor. This is something that I became very aware of somewhere in the middle of my career, that they preferred medical intuitives, the doctors, because they wanted to go to someone who said, your energy's off, and this is all it is. They wanted the minimal evaluation so they could go home and they could tell themselves, it's just an energy thing, and if I eat apples and berries, I'm going to be fine. The fact is, you're dealing with a human life. And to be a practitioner is something that takes so much work and so much skill, and not just listening to a series at all. That in fact, if you were serious about an actual career, and what I went through is years of isolation and years and years and years and years and years and years of readings and arduous work. But among that was that I aligned myself with a physician, not by choice, but actually by divine design, who I still work with, Norm Shealy. And I will say to you that if you have any intention of becoming an actual medical intuitive, that you, for your own sake and the sake of others, have to become diligent about your practice, diligent about what I am telling you to learn, and you have to become very diligent about your own empowerment and your own development of self-esteem. The key to intuition is not what you eat and all that nonsense. It's self-esteem. It's self-esteem. If you don't regard your own inner voice, there isn't anything you can do, anything through which you will develop self-esteem. It is about you trusting yourself to be able to say, I'm getting a signal from myself that I have to respect enough, no matter what I'm getting on the outside world. So let me repeat. You have to have knowledge of the world you cannot see, and trust that knowledge of your energy system, of power, of trusting the vibrations of this world and its unbelievable database over what you see, touch, and feel. And in order to do that, your whole sense of self has got to be something you have a high regard for. I believe that this series is for everyone, that learning about medical intuition is a topic, is a bank of knowledge, let me put it that way, is a bank of knowledge that is essential. This is a science that plays out in you. So just for your life wisdom, it's what you need to know. You need to know. And if I could shift the perspective that it's about your healing, it's not. It's about learning essential life knowledge, because this is what's true about who we are. We are energy creatures living in the age of energy. And this is our energy anatomy. Live truth. Do you want to develop your intuition? Right there. No more acts of self-betrayal. So, and not your truth in a way of saying, like speaking about wounds. I'm saying something as simple as when you talk, you don't exaggerate. If you give your word, you keep it. If someone says, can I trust you with this, and confides in you, if you say, yes, you can, that means you don't pass it on to someone else. And if you do, you phone them and say, I broke my word. Now that's self-esteem. That's intuition. That's where you have this feeling about yourself that you have to develop. What is intuition? It's strength of soul. It's that whole inner, you develop a rapport with your interior that is so intense. You have to battle the part of you that wants you to be weak in order to develop integrity. That's how you do it. One day at a time, one fight at a time. That's the way. There wasn't a moment in my life where suddenly the lights went on and I thought, oh my, I'm a medical intuitive, because I don't look at it that way. I don't think of it any different than if I had gone on as a career as a history teacher. It's just what I am. But there is this difference, and that's that I have a deep and abiding passion for history and for writing as a journalist. And that's a career. But this is my calling. It's a calling. I feel called to do this. Was there a moment that I heard the call? No. And there probably isn't for you. But nothing else felt as authentically me. As there's a word in Catholic theology called your charism, as your unique grace, as something in you that goes deep, 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 that doesn't belong to anyone else but you. I think everybody longs to make contact with their charism, with that uniqueness. And it's not found in your mind. You'll never find it that way. You have to make that commitment to journey in the world behind your eye and into your soul and into the depths of your spiritual self, your intuitive self. This is your journey into truth, into what's my relationship with truth? What's my relationship with what is real and what is illusion, as Buddha would say? Because your wiring is your intuition. Do I feel this is truthful? Or is this my authentic self? Or is this my truthful self? It is the actual journey of the soul. It is the journey in your soul. It is the journey of your soul. It is that journey that makes you intuitively acute. This isn't just a course, really. It's about you and your inner being. It's about you wanting to get to know the depth of how honest can you be? How truthful a life do you want to live for and with yourself? And that's something you have to answer for yourself. But when you realize I could see my life more clearly, I could, if I wanted to, have a much clearer intuition, I could if I wanted to, then why don't you want to? Make that choice. Make that choice. It's the most powerful you'll ever make. Pretty soon you're going to get an email inviting you to take the course, and I hope you'll consider that. I hope that I have inspired you to see the value of your own intuitive system, not mine, but yours, and how important it is for you to unlock the beauty of your intuitive system. So I thank you very much, and see you later.